We are learning from the Chok L'Yisrael, Parashat Vayera, Yom Shishi, and this is from the Musar of the Sefer Haredim, Daf Ayin Amud Bet. It says here, Yishul Taken, it Asher He'evad Lifnei Hashem. A person has to rectify what he had done wrong to Hashem. Midah b'midah, measure for measure. Terem Yeshulam, Midah b'midah. Ve'amru Zichronam Devacha. The rabbis taught, Asa Habilot Shel Avonot. If he did a lot of bundles of Avonot, Yaseh Habilot Shel Mitzvot. Then do bundles of Mitzvot. V'afal Gad Dechtiv. What do you mean? Who are you doing this mitzvot for? You're doing it for Hashem? It says in Devarim Yud, V'lo yikach shochad. God doesn't take bribes. What do you mean? If a person did a lot of avonot, suddenly he's going to start taking all this mitzvot and forgive him? Upirshu shochad mitzvah. So what's the shochad? Is doing mitzvot is the shochad. So it says V'lo yikach shochad. But the shochad is mitzvot, is a mitzvah. Haino achad teshuvah. After a person makes teshuvah. So it's not bribing, because when a person makes teshuvah, all those avonot go away. It depends how his teshuvah was. If it's teshuvah from ahava, from loving Hashem, then those avonot become mitzvot, zechuyot. If a person does it out of fear of Hashem, that he may punish him, then he just takes those things he did on purpose, he makes them all mistakes, and he erases them off. It depends on how you see God. Okay, it's interesting. Let's say a person wants to find charm in the eyes of God. How do you do it? He's going to reveal to you the secret right now. It says, Lo yichos, don't get mad. Don't get angry. Now, what's interesting about this, Mark, it says, Shneimar, it says, Bereshit Yod, V'noach matzah hen b'nei Hashem. Noach found charm in the eyes of God. V'lo pirish lama. But the Torah never told us why he found charm. It just said, V'noach matzah hen b'nei Hashem. Okay, and why? We don't know. So he's telling you, the Sefer Haredim, Ela kishmo, just like his name, Perusho. That was the definition. Shahaya Noach b'diburo. He was Noach in the way he spoke. Noach b'ma'asav, in how he acted. Vehilucho, and how he walked. And I mentioned earlier that's Rashi Tevot Midah. Ma'asav, diburo, hilucho. What does he do? How does he speak? How does he walk? You know, from those three things, you know his midot. You can check him out. That's the Rashi Tevot coming up here. Now, and this is he brings down here. Therefore, matzah hen v'noach hadhu. It's one word. What do you mean? They're one. That Noach is front words, hen is backwards. V'noach matzah hen. Dekach tiknu atahonen. That's why the rabbis put the first berachan da'amidah after atah kadosh, after all the praises. Atahonen beresha. Why? Al shem kabed et Hashem mehonecha. You have to thank God from what He gives to you. And what do you mean He gives to you? What is He giving to you? Before you go asking God for anything, first you have to thank Him for knowledge, that you have the ability to understand what it is that you need, what it is that you want, and to go with your knowledge to request, and the kaven b'tefilah, in order to be able to have focus. Al derech da et Hashem et Elohei avicha ve'obdehu. And like it says, you have to serve God and worship Him. Now, before I continue, I want to tell you something about Noach, which is so important. It's so important. It says that Noach, God loved him because he didn't get mad. Noach is hen. But you know what it tells me? It tells me that Noach was a person that had rage in him. What does that mean? God's not going to give credit and praise and accolades and save the entire world for an individual who He knows He created that way, that was perfect and never had any anger problems or issues to begin with. God's not oblivious.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a big deal.
Is that a big deal?
Naturally.
No, meaning some people, certain things tick them off, certain things they just don't care. While others, you see the opposite. So Noach, there are things and people that ticked him off. And Noach's midah was, he was going to go after them. He was going to get mad, go after them. And what did he do? He worked on himself so much that he knew what his character, his midot were, and he suppressed them and improved them. And this is a key point, because if we say that he was born this way and he was already perfect and everything, then it's game over for most people, and that's it. Why work on it? You either have it or you don't have it. Now, what does this also tell me? This goes further into Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu says, Anav mikol ha'adam. What it tells me is that Moshe is naturally is not Anav. He was in no way Anav Moshe initially with his midot. but he worked on it so much, he became the most humble that anyone will ever be on earth. Meaning, past, present, future. Never will be another person as humble as him. And the Torah has to go out of its way to tell us that he's anav, me'od, mikol, hashed.
It wouldn't be a big deal if it was his natural...
And this is the point I want to get to, that the greatness of humans is not to do what your friend did or to look at what he has. Because believe me, God puts different measures in different people for different reasons. We don't know the reasons. But we see from here is that, because a person might just say, okay, Noah was a calm guy, he's relaxed, he had everything going for him, he was wealthy, and says a lot of interesting things about Noah. He was born without webbed fingers. So when you see these type of things, okay, fine, I got it. He was a relaxed person, he was happy, God told him he was going to destroy the world and save him, so he was relaxed. No, Noah was not a relaxed person, but he worked on himself to the point of that. Same thing with Moshe Rabbeinu. Same thing with all the accolades that we see from the Hachamim and from the Torah on the Avot and all the characters in the Torah. Whenever it points out there's a midot, you have to think it and say in your mind, he worked on it because he was not that. And by doing that, then we can look at ourselves and say, okay, hold on a minute. I have things I want to work on. I have things I want to check. I have things that I know that I need to fix. It says, "Ve'en avodah ela tefillah." And avodah, what's a real avodah? Is tefillah. B'tefillah da'eu. And with prayer, you're going to understand God. Bichlad kibud ava'im. Shelo. Okay, now he goes to honoring a person's father and mother. Shelo yitkotet im shum adam. You should never fight with people. Why? Don't quarrel. Shelo yichadfeu molidav kiminhag haolam. So they don't curse his parents, because people, what they do, in Arabic, those curses they say. They always say, "Abu." Why are they saying that? His father. That's what he's saying. That's kimin hagolam. Yam so'er haguf. The world is like a yam, a sea that is wild, like a storm. Haguf, the body, is tel afad. It's like a mound of dirt, betocho, on the sea. Haneshama, ish. Omed al hatel, the neshama, the soul of the person, stands on this little mound of dirt. Ve'etz hayim natui alav, and he's the tree. Adam etz hasadeh. Okay, he's the tree on the mound of dirt in the sea with a storm. Okay, what is he saying here? Imhu chacham lev, if he's intelligent, yithazik v'yitkasher be'ilan. He's going to tie himself to the tree. Ki hayom o machar yakub bechusko gadeh hayam. The ocean, the sea, is going to have wild waves and tsunamis, and that tree is going to get hit with the water. And so tie yourself to it. Batil ve'yaharis, otherwise it could get destroyed. If you're not tied to the ilan, the tree, ishtefeu hatel. That's what it says. What do you mean etz haim hi? What do you mean it's a tree of life to those who hold on to it? And they're praiseworthy. Azot yitpalel kol hatzid yadecha le'et mitzvot dahaynu mita. תכתיב למוות תוצאות כדפירש במסכת ברכות, שם ל"ב, רק לשטף מים רבים אליו לא יגיעו. אליו היינו נשמה, אתה שאת ידי, וגומר. So he says you here, and he ends with it, that a person has to tie himself to the tree. What's the tree? The tree is learning Torah and doing mitzvot and ma'asim tovim. If you don't learn Torah and do ma'asim tovim and mitzvot, by default, the storm is going to come take down the person, and he's going to fall. It's not possible. You have to tie yourself to the tree. By default, if a person didn't do anything, he would just slowly assimilate. And as Rabbi Mansour always used to say, his life is like a backwards escalator, especially when it comes to religion. It's always going backwards. If you're not walking upwards, you're not standing still. That's a mistake people like to do a lot of times. They say, okay, I'm good. I'm at the right place I want to be religious-wise. I know what I need to know. I know the halachot. I'm comfortable. Yeah, but it doesn't work that way. In the religion, it's always going backwards. And so if you know that the guy who doesn't learn, he's falling behind. He's not going to come back 20 years after high school and be where he thought he was going to be, because he dropped the ball. And that's why it says, Im ta'azveni yom. It says in I believe in the Tehillim, Im ta'azveni yom yomayim asveka. If you leave me for one day, Hashem says, I'm going to leave you for 2. So the next time you want to miss a class, you want to miss me, I'm doubling it. And it brings a case of one of the rabbis in the Gemara. It was, I think, one of the Tannaim, and he went on a vacation. He came back. It was Rosh Chodesh, and they gave him the Aliyah. And he looked at the Aliyah, and the Aliyah, what is the Aliyah for Rosh Chodesh? HaChodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodashim. He reads it, HaChedesh haya libam. What do you mean HaChedesh haya libam? HaChedesh, I mean HaChodesh, he read the Dalet as a resh. HaChodesh hazeh, he read it as haya. And HaChodesh lachem, he read libam. What is he telling you? He said the letters, he didn't even remember the letters reading. He thought the bet was a chaf, the rish, he was confused. What was it telling you? What do you mean? It was a great rabbi. It was trying to give you a point that if a person goes into that relaxed mode, he's going to lose a lot of that fire and that strength of the growth of the learning. What makes the learning continue is just a daily piece, which is why the one of the main questions they asked a person in the Yom Hadin is Kavata Itim La Torah. The question is not, Gamarta Shas Kama Pa'amim. Didn't say, the Gamarta Shulchan Aruch or Lamata Kol Torah Kula. That wasn't the question. It's Kavata Itim. Did you set a time every single day that you at least set time to do a learning? Alone, Havruta, if your Havruta is not there, are you doing it alone? Are you reviewing? There's a lot. A person has things that he can work on. And that I believe is a key. And we're seeing that here in the Sefer Haredim. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen v'Amen.